Ferrari has spent nearly 80 years building some of the loudest, most emotional cars on Earth. Cars powered by screaming V8s, V10s, and V12s. These are cars where the engine was the entire experience. So when Ferrari announced its first fully electric vehicle, people lost their minds. Because this isn't just another Ferrari, it's the most radical car Ferrari has ever built. It's called the Luce, and it costs just around $640,000. It has no engine, no exhaust, no transmission, and yet Ferrari claims it still delivers the same emotional experience as every Ferrari that came before it. We will be answering a few questions such as, how does this thing actually work? Why does it look so different? E cosa si compra esattamente con più di $500,000? Now, let's break down every system that makes the Ferrari Luce tick. The first thing you notice about the Luce is that it barely looks like a Ferrari to begin with. No giant front grille, no aggressive air intakes, no screaming mid-engine proportions. Instead, it looks almost like a futuristic piece of consumer technology. And that's intentional. For the first time in over a decade, Ferrari handed much of the vehicle's design work to an outside company, a design studio called Love From. The company founded by former Apple Chief Design Officer Johnny Ive. Ferrari didn't want to build an electric version of an old Ferrari. They wanted to rethink what a Ferrari could be when there was no engine dictating the shape. The result is what engineers call a two-volume architecture, or as they say in Italy, carrozzeria a due volumi. The upper section is essentially a glass capsule that houses the passengers, while the lower section contains the mechanical systems, battery, motors, suspension, and cooling systems. The entire car visually separates the humans from the machine, which is why the Luce looks so different from every Ferrari before it. But if there is no engine, why does the car still have vents? Because electric cars still generate enormous amounts of heat, just in different places. The Luce uses a massive 880-volt electrical architecture. That means huge amounts of electrical energy are constantly moving through the battery, motors, and inverters, all of which need cooling. At the front of the car are active grille shutters. Although, when cooling isn't needed, they stay closed. This reduces aerodynamic drag and improves efficiency. But when temperatures rise, the shutters open automatically and feed air into multiple heat exchangers. That air cools the battery systems, the inverters, and of course, the power electronics. The front of the car is also equipped with aerodynamic tunnels. These channels redirect airflow over the hood and windshield, helping keep airflow attached to the body, reducing turbulence and lowering drag. Even the windshield wipers were redesigned as well. Instead of hiding underneath the windshield, they sit vertically along the A-pillars. I'll admit, it looks a little strange, but it solves a packaging problem, while also helping airflow remain smooth over the glass. As air moves down the vehicle, hidden air curtains pull turbulent air away from the front wheels. This is important because the Ferrari Luce uses enormous wheels, 23 inches in the front and 24 inches in the rear, the largest wheels ever fitted to a production Ferrari. Without airflow management, those wheels would create massive turbulence. So Ferrari channels that disturbed air through carefully engineered pathways along the body. Ma è sotto l'auto che le cose si fanno davvero interessanti. The entire floor is almost completely flat. Air accelerates underneath the vehicle, creating low pressure. That low pressure helps generate stability as well as downforce. At the rear, the airflow exits through a large diffuser and floating aerodynamic structures. Rather than using giant wings, Ferrari manipulates the air itself to keep the car planted. The result is a drag coefficient of 0.254, the lowest drag figure ever achieved by a Ferrari road car. But airflow is only part of the story. The real heart of the Luce is hidden beneath the floor, the battery. The Luce uses a giant 122 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack developed with SK On. Most EV batteries are simply heavy boxes bolted into the chassis. Ferrari went further. The battery itself becomes part of the structure. 85% of the battery modules sit beneath the floor. The remaining modules sit beneath the rear seats. This positioning lowers the center of gravity dramatically. In fact, the center of gravity sits 95 millimeters lower than Ferrari's Purosangue SUV. That may not sound like much, but in vehicle dynamics, it's enormous. It means less body roll, better stability, and sharper handling. The battery also uses advanced cooling plates and liquid cooling systems. This allows the car to handle repeated high-performance driving and 350 kilowatt fast charging without overheating. Power from the battery flows into silicon carbide inverters. Just think of the inverters as translators. The battery stores DC electricity. The motors need AC electricity. The inverter converts one into the other, and it does so thousands of times every second. Those inverters then send power to 4 electric motors, one for each wheel. Combined output? A whopping 1,035 horsepower. That's even more than a Ferrari SF90. The front axle produces 282 horsepower, while the rear axle produces 831 horsepower. Together, they create a staggering 11,500 Newton-meters of wheel torque, enough to launch the Luce from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 2.5 seconds. But horsepower alone isn't what makes this system impressive. The motors themselves are engineering masterpieces. They use something called a Halbach array, a special arrangement of magnets that concentrates magnetic fields where they're needed most. This improves efficiency, reduces wasted energy, and increases torque density. The front motors can spin to an astonishing 30,000 revolutions per minute. That's far beyond what most production EV motors achieve. At highway speeds, Ferrari can even disconnect the front axle entirely. This eliminates drag from the front motors and improves efficiency. When extra performance is needed, the front axle reconnects instantly. The driver never even notices. Of course, all this creates a major problem: weight. The Ferrari Luce weighs nearly 5,000 pounds, making it the heaviest Ferrari ever built. So how do you make something that heavy feel like a Ferrari? Software. Lots and lots of software. The Luce's vehicle control unit monitors the entire car 200 times every second. Every motor, every wheel, every suspension component, every steering input, every braking input, all being adjusted in real time. The software constantly decides how much torque each wheel should receive. The result is a car that behaves hundreds of kilograms lighter than it actually is. Then there's the interior. And this is where much of that $640,000 price tag starts to make sense. Love From imposed one unusual rule: no plastic. Every major touch surface is aluminium, glass, or leather. Even the displays are unlike anything else in the industry. Instead of giant tablet screens, Ferrari built custom Samsung OLED displays with mechanical hands physically protruding through the screen. Actual moving needles passing through digital displays. The center console houses something called the multigraph, a mechanical instrument that can function as a stopwatch, clock, compass, or launch control countdown timer. The steering wheel itself consists of 19 separate CNC machined aluminium components, and it's actually lighter than many conventional Ferrari steering wheels. Everything is designed to feel mechanical, tactile, physical, the exact opposite of the touchscreen heavy approach dominating modern EVs. Starting the Ferrari Luce is also unlike any other Ferrari. Instead of pressing a normal start button, you begin with what Ferrari calls the key ceremony. The key itself is a glass slab with an e-ink display. You place it into a magnetic dock in the center console. The displays awaken. The instrument cluster comes alive. The multigraph resets itself. And deep within the chassis, the battery contactors close with an audible click. That click effectively replaces the sound of an engine firing to life. You then select one of several energy modes: range, tour, or perfo. And if maximum acceleration is required, you pull a roof-mounted launch control handle. The cabin glows orange. The battery prepares for maximum power discharge, and a 5-second countdown begins. After that, all 1,035 horsepower become available. But perhaps the most fascinating engineering challenge was sound. Ferrari knew silence wasn't an option, yet they refused to fake engine noises through speakers, unlike most companies. Instead, engineers mounted precision accelerometers directly to the rear inverter housing. These sensors detect real physical vibrations generated by the electric motors. Ferrari then filters, amplifies, and shapes those frequencies. The sound you hear isn't a recording. It isn't a fake V8 soundtrack. It's the actual mechanical vibration of the drivetrain itself, just amplified. The same way an electric guitar pickup amplifies the vibration of a guitar string. It's one of the most unusual solutions ever developed for an electric performance car, and it's protected by multiple Ferrari patents. So why does the Ferrari Luce cost $640,000? Because you're not just paying for horsepower, you're paying for a completely new Ferrari architecture. Whether you love the design or hate it, the Luce isn't Ferrari trying to copy Tesla or BYD. Se vi è piaciuto il video, lasciate un like, condividetelo e iscrivetevi al canale per non perdervi altri contenuti sul mondo delle auto.